Sheepey Racing twin turbo R8 that we wrapped in this Inozetek. It's very similar, like a Nardo gray vinyl. It hasn't been on there very long, but customer wants to change it up already, so we're gonna do like a little bit of a wrap removal process for you guys today, and go over some of the tools we use when we're doing this. It depends on the vinyl. Some vinyls pull off a little easier cold, and then for the most part, most of them are gonna pull off a little easier warm, just because it loosens up the adhesive a little bit. So we use like IR lamps for the bigger panels, like the hood and the roof, and for smaller stuff like the edges, we'll use just like a heat gun, or we even have a little smaller IR lamp, just like this one that we use. Now, because we wrapped this car, we know that we're gonna have to do some disassembly. We wrapped all of our edges. This car's white. It's all wrapped in there. So anywhere you can find an edge, you just wanna try to get it started. At first, try it cold without any heat. It's coming off pretty easy without any heat. So if you can get away with that, then go for it. Things you want to look for is whether or not the vinyl's leaving any adhesive. Sometimes vinyl, especially if it's been on there for a little too long, will leave some adhesive on its edges or on flat areas. If it's doing that, you might want to try a little bit of heat. One thing you want to consider when you're wrapping your car is a cheaper vinyl generally is not going to pull off very good or install very well. How long a vinyl wrap's going to last is going to vary a lot depending on where you live and how much you drive the car, how much UV exposure it has. So it's going to be a little different for everybody, but a wrap should last you if it's done well and you take care of it 5 years or maybe even more. If it starts to crack or fade, then that's a good sign that the vinyl's starting to degrade a little bit, and you might want to get it off before it gets harder and harder to remove. These are actually for cleaning keyboards, but they just so happen to be really nice for saving your fingernails when you're trying to get vinyl up, you know? Not a whole lot of ways you're gonna damage your car when you're unwrapping it. It's a little safer than wrapping it, where you risk cutting the paint and things like that. But one thing you definitely want to keep in mind is when you're trying to get an edge up like this right here, you only want to use something like your fingernail or a tool like this. If you use something like tweezers or something that's harder than the paint is, obviously you're going to be able to scratch it, and you really don't want to do that. So be careful and mindful about what you use to get your edges up, and just pay attention to what you're doing. So you can see when we're pulling this vinyl off the hood here, see how it's shattering like that? And it's not tearing off in big chunks. If you see that happening, then you might want to consider throwing a little heat on it. It'll just give the vinyl its strength back and its ability to stretch. So right now what's happening is the vinyl's cold, and so it can't stretch, and when I pull on it, instead of stretching, it's shattering just like that. So what we can do now is we can use a heat gun or the heat lamp if you have access to one, and heat up the panel. It doesn't need to be a whole lot, just kind of so that it's warm to the touch. So we're letting our panel warm up. Another thing to consider, if you live somewhere where it's hot outside when you're unwrapping a car, just go leave it in the sun for a little while and let it get hot. Then you got the best IR lamp there is, and you'll be able to pull it off without a heat gun or anything. And that's the best way to pull vinyl. That's my favorite, but right now it's not quite warm enough outside. So now you can see this is already starting to warm up a little bit, and now it's stretching again, and it's not shattering like it was before. So another technique to keep in mind, this vinyl, being so new, is not really leaving any adhesive on our paint. But if you're noticing that the vinyl is leaving a lot of adhesive, and you'll just see that because it'll be the little hex pattern that's on the back side of the vinyl. A trick you can try is, instead of pulling up, you can actually pull away, and it'll still separate. And what this does is just keeps the adhesive connected to the top sheet. You're gonna have some adhesive left. So to get that off, I would recommend at first trying something just like 70% alcohol. This is just like isopropyl alcohol. You get it anywhere. and a microfiber towel. If it's mild adhesive, it's not so bad. This will probably take it off. And then if that's not working, then you're probably gonna want to set up something like this. We use wrap remover, but it's really basically just Goo Gone. You know, get anywhere also. Just spray that on the adhesive, kind of let it soak for a little bit, and then you should just be able to wipe it off after that. It should just dissolve that adhesive. So this is about as far as we're gonna take our unwrap process right now. We could do some removal on the bumpers as they are, but it wouldn't be a whole lot because we wrapped the vinyl behind all of these vents and all up in here. So it's gonna be a lot faster, more efficient to just have everything removed and then tear it straight off with the cake.
I'm just gonna wear this every day.
My ears are ringing.
It was so much fun though!
You missed the wheel!
Supposed to aim it at the wheel? Somebody stand behind him and plug his ears.
What? For real?
What side am I blowing it on?
Okay,
Somebody plug my ears.
I'm good. Hold on.
It's a whole lot of work to mount one wheel. We got 3 more.
Go!
Thank you. Keep it going!
We're alive. It's me. Yeah.
The mustache is uncanny.
Uncanny.
Get there. Get right there.
Oh, look at that.
It's pretty perfect.
I'd say.
He captured your likeness so well.
We just finished up this Velociraptor for one of our really good clients. We did his Porsche a while back and he wanted to do a full satin paint protection on this one as well. So we went through and added our film to the entire body, all of the fender flares. Being that this is a Hennessey Velociraptor, it already had performance upgrades and exhaust. You got a big brake kit, you get the front and rear bumpers. These things are already pretty tricked out from factory. And then obviously when we add a little bit of our touches to it, it just makes it a special type of unique. This metallic black paint really pops with our stealth paint protection on it. And then we came back through and we added all of the decals to kind of match all of the two-tone flares. I really love how this thing turned out. If I wasn't such a GM guy, I might own it. Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Probably not.
That's it for this week's episode. Appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned. We've got a lot of really cool projects in the pipeline.